Nabadu Nasalila Rasulil Kareem. Amawad Fauz Billah Minashaitan Rajim. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Amjad Saqib, founder of the world's largest Islamic microfinance institution, AlHuda, to give us his valuable time for this webinar on the topic of revival strategies for the effective small business through interest-free microfinance during pandemic COVID-19. And I also would like to thank to all the participants who are listening us and who are with us through Zoom, through Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. Al-Huda Center for Islamic Banking and Economics is organizing a series of free webinar on Islamic banking and finance, including Islamic microfinance, sukuk, takaful, Islamic capital market, and etc. So this webinar is one of the imminent webinar among those series. So in our webinar mechanism that we conduct that webinar through Zoom, but transform that webinar into different Facebook pages and YouTube pages. So in the future, we have some webinar for the European Islamic finance development, in which we have some speaker in French language, German language, and Turkish language. Without any delay, I would request Dr. Amjad Saqib Saab to start his valuable talk. And Islamic microfinance is emerging all over the world. According to a careful estimate, about $2 billion of the financing is based on Islamic microfinance, and more than 500 Islamic microfinance institutions are working in more than 60 countries. Ahwad is one of the eminent institution among them, with having the largest Islamic microfinance portfolio. And rest of the thing we will learn from His Excellency Dr. Amjad Saqib. Please, sir, the floor is yours. Unmute your mic.
Okay, now,
Yes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Zubair Mughal Sahab, for inviting me to this wonderful session. I am seeing a lot of names, and a few of those names are familiar to me, and I was just seeing many friends. And thank you very much for invitation to all of them, and then inviting me. I'm also seeing the name of Jordan. He's a great supporter of AlHuda and researcher from Oxford University, and many other familiar names. So thank you for the introduction as well. We are doing Islamic microfinance since last 20 years, and Alhamdulillah, we are pioneer in introducing, the the benevolent loan model, and this is, an effort which we take always pride in, that we produce totally different products, and then we take that product to scale. So now coming back to today's topic, as I suggested to Mr. Zubair Mughal, that I would like to, speak for 15 to 20 minutes, highlighting, our efforts, our strategy for meeting this crisis, and then I will expect some questions, and I will be happy to answer those questions. So, as we all know, the whole world, was badly impacted by COVID-19, and it was such a big crisis and calamity that no country in the world, was safe. So it impacted economies, it impacted politics, and the life. No aspect of life has been saved. Similar was the situation in Pakistan, being underdeveloped country, and a country where the literacy rate is so low, and where the health facilities are not available, we were extremely vulnerable because of lack of all these resources. But still, today, I'm very comfortable in saying that the strategy which was adopted by government of Pakistan against COVID has proved successful, comparatively speaking, that the total number of victims and the total number of casualties is much lower than what we expected and feared at the beginning. So I would like to highlight the strategies adopted by the state and by the provincial governments to combat this very lethal virus. So what is in it for us? Coming particularly to the microfinance and to the poor entrepreneurs and to the small and medium enterprises, what was our experience, and on the basis of our experience, what kind of strategies we could suggest, and how you all people who are doing their own with reference to microfinance and financial inclusion can learn from our experience. So that is basically the objective of today's this webinar. So what did we do? In the beginning, very in initial days, we first of all conducted an analysis. We call it situational analysis. That what is this COVID-19? How is it adversely influencing our lives, and what are the various dimensions where it can influence our impact? So we assessed the impact with reference to four things. Number one, food. Food security was the most important thing. That what would be doing with the poor people? Will they be able to earn their livelihood on daily basis? Would they be able to have access to good quality food? Would they be having all other facilities? So food security was the number one dimension where we wanted to know that how we should plan to counter that. The second was the social. How would we tell people to how could they improve their social interaction? How, because in those days we were asking people to be adopting the principles of social distancing. So, but to us it was not a social distancing, because even connection on a phone or through Zoom or through other means, man cannot be socially distanced. Yes, of course, we can be physically distanced. So we wanted to know that how we can play our role in maintaining that physical distance. Then the third most important sector is the health. So what was the facilities available? How could we improve the health-related facilities in hospitals? How could we help in prevention and then the treatment? So this was a third dimension which emerged out of our analysis that this is the area where we should do something. And fourth, of course, is the financial. What was the financial impact? You also know. So the whole economy got disturbed, and the businesses stopped. There was a termination of the employees, and obviously when the marketplace got suspended and shut, then there was no possibility for the poor people, especially the daily wage earners, to go to the market and earn their livelihood. So the first thing was a very, very in-depth and compassionate analysis of the situation, highlighting the food security, social interaction, health, and financial resources and the financial impact of the whole disease. Out of this analysis, different strategies started coming out. That analysis helped us to determine that what should we do in all these four sectors. So different strategies, and as a result, different operational methodologies started coming out. The first one was that we started developing a sense of solidarity amongst the people. We were trying to educate the people that they should uh, help each other in this situation, in this grave situation, because the state has very limited resources. So this is the responsibility of the haves to get hold of the poor people. So we started a movement by the name of neighbor to neighbor solidarity. That means if every neighbor takes care of his neighbors, then we can take care of everybody in the country. So neighbor to neighbor movement, then locality to locality neighborhood, the solidarity. This was the second dimension of our social mobilizing process, which means that a good, a prosperous locality should take care of some locality within its reach, physical, not physically located at a distance, and this locality which is a rich locality, they should adopt a poor city or a poor village or a poor area, slum area, and then try to provide the services and food and other medical services to that particular locality. So in a nutshell, through this process of social mobilization, we inspired people to help each other. This goes back to the philosophy of the whole organization. AlHuda stands for solidarity between have and have-nots. So that is the basic philosophy which we vouch for. And the first thing we started reviving the spirit of mutual support amongst the have and have-nots. So then next thing was particularly we started giving food to the poor people in different areas, in different cities. And after giving food, then we started preparing these ration bags and started distributing these ration bags amongst the most poor people. The third thing was, we started giving consumption loans because there were a large number of people who didn't believe in charity or goals. They were not, comfortable in taking grants as a charity. So we introduced another kind of a product by the name of, food or emergency loans. So we started offering $200, $300, $400 as loans because we believe that these people were earning a sufficient amount of money before the advent of COVID. This is a temporary situation, and once the COVID will be over, the economy will come back to its normalcy, then these people will be again be able to run their businesses as usual. So in this period, 2-3 months, if you are able to give them small loans, so they can sustain comfortably, and they will not have to sell their own, business things, equipments, like different items of their business or offices. So this is a temporary phase which will vanish very soon, and that's how we started giving these emergency loans. We always believe that financial inclusion is one of the most important strategies, whether economy is growing, whether economy is not growing. Without investment, without financial inclusion, and without giving people this much needed capital, we cannot bring prosperity and we cannot alleviate poverty. So contrary to the common wisdom, because most of the banks and financial institutions stopped lending because they were fearing that the previous loans which they have been advanced will not come back. So once the previous loans, the regular monthly or quarterly or fortnightly installments were not being paid, then they thought that it would be very, very risky to give more money. So, but we, decided to do the other way. We always believe in entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship by definition means risk taking. So you will be amazed to know that before COVID, we, on an average, was giving around 1 billion rupees you can convert this into your own currency. But on an average, every month before March 2019, we were distributing around 1 billion rupees every month. Now comes the COVID, and suddenly the distribution or disbursement of loans, touched the bottom because the markets were closed, and because of forced by the state this lockdown, so everything got halted. But you will be amazed that instead of reducing our disbursement, we enhanced our disbursement. And many people still don't understand that how we were able to do that. That in the month of May 2020, instead of 1 billion rupees, which we were distributing before the corona virus attack, in the month of May 2020, we distributed 4 billion rupees. So we almost increased the disbursement 4 times. So this was our response to this crisis. This was our response to this critical juncture, that instead of shrinking the economy, instead of shrinking the investment, instead of excluding these people from financial access. So why don't we trust them? Why don't we give them more money? Why don't we help them to continue with their businesses? So this resulted in a great revival of trust from these poor people, and our recovery was very, very marginally affected. I'm told that many microfinance organizations and many other organizations reported that their recovery percentage plummeted to 40% or 50%. But the loyalty of our clientele and our borrowers can be assessed from the fact that in some areas of Pakistan, the recovery rate continued to stand around 100%. And in some areas where the COVID was, the impact of COVID was so severe, it came to 80, 85, and 90%. But still, people, were unhappy that they were not able to, give the installments back to AlHuda as per their promise. But they promised that very soon they will revive again. So what did we do? We just enhanced the lending that showed our love and compassion and empathy for the poor people, and they returned these sentiments, this compassion, with their integrity. So this we found extremely important, that in such a situation, what is leadership's role in crisis? In crisis, leadership, means more risk-taking, more out-of-box solutions, more creativity, and more alignment to your vision. So we exactly did all these things, that instead of shutting down our doors, we opened these doors. We went to the community, we built the relationship, we offered them support in terms of grants and financial assistance, and food and meals, and then medical facilities. So besides these social interaction, improving our social interaction with them, we continue to serve our most cherished product of Qarz-e-Hasan. So this is our experience, that in such a situation, we should continue to do our best. And the basic thing is the engagement, or the relationship and the loyalty of your customer. If you are achieving those, then obviously, you have nothing to worry at all. So this was our, financial interventions. Then I told that, yes, we also did some deferment of installments in severe cases. This was requested and desired by our regulators in Pakistan, that in case of severe emergency, the installments can be deferred. But in most of the cases, people didn't want to have this deferment because they have started paying those loans immediately after May and June. So we also have some collaboration with international partners and agencies. Some of international partners gave us some, funding to meet all our objectives, which I have mentioned you. And then we also got some tremendous support from state as well, who were able to convince one of our provincial governments that they should give these consumption loans to the people who are being affected by microfinance. So the one of the governments in Pakistan, the state government, the provincial government of Balochistan allocated around ₹1 billion for this purpose, and AlHuda was chosen as an intermediary, and that amount was provided to the affected people. Those people, those small business people whose business was affected because of Corona. So this state amount was not given as a charity. It was given as an interest-free loan through AlHuda to those people who were directly, impacted by Corona. So this is another strategy that we were able to convince state that this is the right time to take hold of this situation and to extend a helping hand, a hand of friendship, a hand of collaboration and mutual support. So without making these people dependent on state charity and state doles, it is another dignified way to help them and to assure them that in this matter, an hour or moment of crisis, they are not alone. Civil society is with them, the state is with them, the international donor agencies and organizations are with them, and together we all will be able to combat this critical situation and come out of this challenge. So very briefly, this is what I wanted to say. AlHuda stands for love, care, and compassion. AlHuda stands for living, for giving. AlHuda stands for taking hold of the poor people, and AlHuda promotes the idea of brotherhood between haves and have-nots. We believe that the world comprises of 8 billion people, and if 4 billion are living happily and enjoying all comforts of life and leading a quality of life, having access to education, health, and finance, then the other 4 billion, those are poor, and those who are not those fortunate to have access to all these things. So if the top 4 billion make up, relationship of brotherhood and solidarity with the bottom 4 billion, so there is a possibility that we can make a better world. We can have a better, conditions for everybody. So that is the basic concept behind AlHuda's all efforts, and especially keeping in view the importance of financial inclusion. AlHuda's prime objective is giving small loans to the entrepreneurs, to the small entrepreneurs, and to the micro entrepreneurs. And for that, we have adopted the way of Sharia compliant microfinance. And within the Sharia compliant microfinance, we have developed a unique product by the name of beneficial loan, or Qarz Hasan. So this crisis was a test of our steadfastness, our ingenuity, our creative approach, and our firm commitment with our people. Because I will always claim that though organizational sustainability is important, but client sustainability is more important. If your client is sustainable, if he is doing his business, then he will also come back to you to make you more sustainable. So the client sustainability for us comes first. So in this crisis, the organizational sustainability was at stake, but we firmly believe that client sustainability was more at stake. So that was the real need of the poor people, that how we are going to act. So we took care of them. We continued with our business model. We trusted their, integrity, and we believe that once they will come out of this crisis, they will again start doing their businesses and returning the money in time. And we are extremely happy that at this point of time, we are maintaining our recovery percentage as usual. And I would be happy to share, Mughal Sahib, with you findings of one of the researchers, Mr. Jordan Bernard, who is an Oxford graduate and a PhD candidate there. So it was very interesting to know that he identified the reasons for good recovery. Number one, the good attitude of the Howat employees. Their relationship with the clients was so perfect, so humane, that the borrowers were extremely happy to return the amount. Second thing was, of course, the interest-free dimension, and then the religious, the faith basis. And other thing was that they thought that Howat is not confined only to financial inclusion; it is serving many other ways. It is providing education, it is providing healthcare, it is providing clothes to the poor people, and it is in any calamity and catastrophic situation, it is at the forefront. So these are the reasons why we were able. But I think the most important reason is that how compassionately you engage with your client. This is most important. Every human being demands and expects and deserves honor and respect. True friendship means helping somebody in need whenever somebody is in crisis. So he expects something good from the friends. So we believe in a financial inclusion which is based on this concept of brotherhood and friendship and sharing. So this thing was, I think, most important for our successful response to this critical juncture, that we didn't betray our borrower, our clients, our companions, and the people who are already engaged with Howat since last 20 years. Currently, we have around 1 million active borrowers, and we have served more than 4 million these micro loans. So we have established this relationship of mutual trust, and we wanted to continue with this. We not for a single moment wanted to, disappoint our borrowers. So this is how we, reacted. And I will again, summarize the discussion that whenever such a situation arises, first of all, we should have an in-depth analysis of the situation. We should try to identify different areas where an organization can, respond. And then, obviously, it should find creative and very innovative solutions, and it should continue to think for the clients. Clients come first, and the organization comes later. And we also believe in collaboration. The whole civil society organizations, the state actors, the international players, they should come together if they are willing to, give a very solid response, collective solid response on behalf of the poor people. So that's what I wanted to say. Mughal Sahib, I requested you that you might have some questions in advance, or now I will be happy to answer those questions.
Assalamu alaikum participants. If anyone have any questions from respected Dr. Amjad Saqib, kindly raise your hands and ask the question. First of all, I would like to invite Mr. Irfan Sheikh to ask the question, please. Mr. Irfan Sheikh.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm from Kashmir, from Indian side. My question to honorable speaker is that we have here number of charity institutions, but they are purely charity institutions. But somehow we are missing the a kind of a mechanism part so that we can make them as a pure Islamic microfinancing institutions. So kindly suggest us how should we proceed, because AlHuda is the best example before us. So this is my question to the honorable speaker.
Thank you very much, Irfan Sheikh. I truly appreciate this question. Yes, there is a difference between charity and microfinance. Of course, there are some people in the society who can't do any business, who are not economically active. For example, widows are old people, are people who are physically, mentally disabled, persons with disabilities. So there is one chunk of society which needs grant and which needs charity or which needs zakat. But then there is another section. We can divide the whole community in 4 sections. At the bottom is these people which we are talking about, that they deserve charity because they are unable to do some business. But then there is another group which is next to this group, where people are able-bodied. They can be economically active. They are not willing to take doles or charity. If they are given financial resources, they can start their businesses and they can earn their livelihood, and they can then send their children to school. So instead of giving charity to these people, we should give them Qarz-e Hasan. That means we should give them loan, which we give to our brothers or sisters, and then get back the same amount and don't take any charge or can charge any interest or service charges. So this is where we come forward. For this section of society, we have designed a microfinance system which provides loans without interest. So this is our response to society, that okay, the people who are unable to do business, those should be taken care by the state or by the neighbors or by the family. But this chunk of society, if we start giving them charity, then we will be denying them an opportunity to be very productive and be a contributing person of the society. So this is where we come, and as I mentioned, that AlHuda will be, we will be very happy to support you and to give you this model and to help you start this, because this is a successful model, and this success is nothing particular to Pakistan only. This can be successful anywhere. You just need to create a pool of money. We call it credit pool, and then you need to identify a few people, maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 1,000, maybe 100,000, depending on the size of this credit pool. And then you can start giving money. This money should be given because it is raised without cost of capital, so it should be transferred as free of cost of capital. You can still take some money as your operational cost because that is permissible according to the principles of Sharia. But still, if you have more resources, you can avoid that as well. So we will be happy to. First of all, I would like to request you to go through our website, and you can send some questions to me, to our organization, to our staff, to our management, and we will be happy to provide you the basic manuals which we have prepared, that how can you start a program like AlHuda. So this is nothing rocket science. You can do it even better as compared to us, and we will be happy to support if you need it in this regard.
Thank you, sir. Basically, we were in a long back interested to start somehow similar to because I've been a student of Islamic finance. That's why I was interested in. We have more than 200, in our district Srinagar, the charity institutions, the money they are spending in crores, but that is only restricted to grant only, not in the productive sense, as you said, that if we are giving the loans. But we are missing somehow the mechanism how to start in a different way, because we are habitual of collecting money and giving directly to the client as if we are giving the charity. But somehow we are missing a training part, because ours is a different environment are here. So can you somehow, my point basically is we would like to, follow a code, but we are not getting a right way so that we can reach to the most deserving people in a better way.
So Irfan, we will be happy to support you through online discussion, through Zoom discussion. We can train you, we can train your people, we can tell you all the operational details. We will be happy to share our operational manual. The point is how to raise money, number one. Then is how to find good people. Then how to appraise them. Then how to give them loans. Then how to monitor their businesses, how to build their capacity, and then how to get money back so that it continues to revolve amongst the people. So this is whole journey of 20 years, which we have learned many lessons, and we will be happy to share all those with you. And we will truly appreciate, because instead of giving doors and charities, as they say, that don't give fish, tell people how to fish. So those who cannot earn, who cannot do a business, they should be given fish. But those who are willing to be productive and who are willing to move ahead in life and willing to continue on the journey of entrepreneurship, so why should we give them fish? We should tell them how to fish. So this is more near to human dignity.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be connecting you with some questions through your website. Then, as you said, because some participant might have other questions also. So we expect a complete cooperation from your end when it comes to spreading the knowledge of how mechanism knowledge, like how
Sure.
the
You can also contact us through AlHuda, through Mr. Zubair Mughal. You can send me an email. We will be happy to support you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Mr. Sharik Nisar for the question.
He is not audible.
Yes, brother Sharik Nisar.
His mic is off.
Yes. Brother Sharik, your mic is off. Kindly unmute it just to ask the question. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Majors, for organizing this wonderful talk of Dr. Amjad. This is Sharik Nisar from Bombay. This whole COVID episode across the globe has especially exposed Muslim countries and societies more, because most of us lack insurance coverage as well. Dr. Amjad, my question is, because of your past experience of working with most vulnerable sections, and also the kind of the resources that you have on as a ground forces, don't you think that this is high time that societies, especially those who are vulnerable and third world countries, especially in subcontinent, also need a takaful product, and especially micro takaful product, because most of the people who are dependent on government themselves are not having enough resources at these times because of economic losses. Also because those people who are rich, they have commercial insurance to seek some kind of protection. But what about the huge middle segment? Sorry?
Last part of your question was not audible. Will you like to repeat it?
Okay, Dr. Amjad, my question was, Muslims are least insured community when it comes to measuring insurance across community. And especially in subcontinent, if you look at resources, healthcare support, government is not capable of. So only the rich segment has capability to buy insurance from commercial insurance companies, etc. but the damage is more to the bottom line or even the middle segment. So do you plan to do something in the area of micro insurance also, with the kind of support and passion that you have for the vulnerable? If so, what are those plans, if you want to share with us something?
Thank you very much, Sharik Saab. Thank you for asking this question. In fact, you have broadened the scope of this discussion. Microfinance means provision of 4 services to the poor people. Number 1 is credit. Number 2 is saving. Number 3 is insurance. Number 4 is micro leasing. And somebody also include number 6, that is the transfer of money. So these are 5 services clubbed together, which are called microfinance. But we have confined microfinance to microcredit only. We only believe that by giving credit, we will be able to take people out of poverty, which is half correct. Unless people are able to save, unless people are insured, as you have very rightly pointed out, and unless people, are not giving these leasing facilities, their all financial issues will not be answered. So I fully agree with you that insurance is one of the most critical, parts of microfinance. Now, why don't we do it? It's very important. Giving credit and getting it back is relatively simpler, though it's a risky thing, but it is relatively simpler. Designing an insurance product and then, convincing the poor people who are mostly illiterate that insurance is something extremely important for you. Because I have found that poor people live on day-to-day basis. Very few of them think for the future. So to really, inspire people and tell them that what are the benefits embedded in the insurance product. So we don't work hard, we don't engage with them, we don't explain the benefits of this product. So this is the, this deficiency is on the part of service providers. So if service providers start engaging with the poor people and tell them that life is just not confined to credit, taking money, giving it back. There are many other ways, there are many other strategies which will help you to come out of poverty. So having said that, we don't have any, expertise in insurance. Our expertise is mostly in credit, but we are now engaging with some takaful companies in Pakistan, and through them, we are planning to offer health insurance and life insurance and business insurance products to our products. So we will be working not as service provided by ourselves. Here we would like to link and collaborate with other service providers who has tested products, who are willing to go to the bottom of the society, go to the poor. So quite recently, we had a detailed discussions with them, and now we are in the process of preparing a healthcare insurance product. So my answer to your question is yes, you are extremely right. Insurance is too important. It should not be neglected, and micro insurance policies, micro insurance products should be started. But at the initial stages, we can collaborate and have partnership with the existing service providers.
Thank you,
very
Doctor.
much.
We have started a small level of pilot program in Mumbai, covering about 8,000 odd families. And the problem that you have highlighted is when poor people don't have money for today, how can we convince them to think for tomorrow? And to help that mitigate that challenge, we have also started highlighting on the services part of healthcare. So health screening, healthcare. So all those premium that people pay, the ultimate benefit, what they think is that whatever amount of premium they have paid, they have got some amount of services. So even if they have not, faced any financial difficulty, they are still better off because of the services, because of the medicine, because of the medical checkup, etc. And this in turn actually had reduced final burden on financial payment. So maybe inshallah sometime when we get chance, we'll be happy to exchange views with the experiences that we have here. And also I am very great fan of your work, and always I keep looking you and recording your activities, etc. Very nice presentation, doctor. Thank you very much.
I truly appreciate Sharik Saab, your kind words. I'm extremely grateful, and I'm very happy that you are focusing on an area which is very extremely that is needed, but it is neglected. And I will be so happy to benefit from your experience. And I will I will request Mr. Mowal to arrange one of your presentations on your experience so that we can learn from you, and that would be great. Thank you very much. I hope we will meet sometime, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for such a wonderful answer. Now we have one question from Mr. Wahibi Zikri. Yes, brother, you can ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saqib. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, brother. Thank you very much. Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah. I hope you remember me still.
Yeah, you are not showing your picture. Show me your picture.
Okay, I'm from Kosovo. I'm a Start Microfinance institution in Kosovo.
Oh, great. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
Yeah. I'm really impressed, with your activities and the concept that you have presented here, to the, especially during this situation here, which affected all the people worldwide. Some of them more, some of them less. And you are fully right when you mentioned that the leadership can be seen on the crisis. The best leadership and can be seen exactly, definitely, when the crises are arising. My question, I'm wondering, and I'm impressed really about your loans disbursement that you have mentioned, especially in May, which has, exceeded the normal monthly disbursement, as you mentioned. And just my question was small about this. Are all these loans only emergency loans, or they are also related to some businesses? Because you have mentioned that you wanted to save their businesses and you wanted to give extra funding for their, for any kind of emergency or food or something. This question is interested for me from one point, because we are living in European context, and in our microfinance institution, we are depending only from the services that we are receiving from loans disbursement, and we don't have any donation, we don't have any further support. And the question would be, how was these loans and how much was affected your institution, from this crisis, and what you are expecting? Are you expecting to get out from this, maybe with less harm, or in general? This is my question.
Thank you very much, Brother Wahabi. Thank you very much for asking this question. When we do business as usual, when there is a business as usual, we need managers. Because business as usual means you have manuals, you have protocols, you have policies, you have regular routine procedures. So you can continue to offer your services. So business as usual needs managers, but crisis needs leaders. Because it is the crisis which demands something extraordinary, something which is not written, something which is not within the policy, something which is not in your protocols and in your manuals. So in a crisis, you need something out of box, something which is creative, something which is more entrepreneurial in nature, something which is more risky. So in general life, you see that leadership comes forward when there is some unanswered question or something which is absolutely unique. So this corona crisis was a typical test of the strength and the vision of a society, that how does that society responds to such a situation where everybody in the society has been adversely affected. If there is a earthquake, this is confined to a single place. If there is a flood or rains, these are confined to a single place, and the whole society or the nation or the country can join hands to support. But this was a unique situation where everybody was vulnerable. Even the rich were vulnerable, the poor were vulnerable as well. So this was, I think, I'm a student of history, this was the true test of the strength of a nation, of a society, of an individual, that how will you respond it? So this is, the challenge was to find a solution which is good for everybody, and which was out of box, which was not written in the usual management books. So this is my first response to your words. And then we distributed 4 billion rupees in 1 month. On an average, we distributed 1 billion rupees. So this increased amount was our response to this crisis. Now, the other part of your question is that how much is on businesses and how much was on emergency loans as emergency. 10% of this amount was for emergency loans. Around 10% was for housing loans, and remaining around 70 to 80% was for business loans. Because we wanted people to do business. They can do business while they are in their homes. So taking care of all precautionary measures, they can still be active. We have found that this COVID was a blessing in disguise as well, that we were able to identify very unique modes of communication. Online communication, Zoom communication. So we around 80% was invested in enterprises, in businesses, and then emergency loans. And you were amazed to see know that our product of housing was so successful, because once you invest in housing, you are investing in at least 30 industries. An electrician gets an employment, a plumber gets employment, a mason gets employment, a carpenter gets employment. So our focus was not only that particular borrower, but also a whole ecosystem, that how other people can get benefit out of it, how the whole society can get benefit out of it, how the whole economy can get kick-started through this. So this was our distribution, and that's it. We can talk further on this if you like later on.
Thank you very much. You have answered even more than what I asked for, and definitely you have mentioned the main concept, in everything what you said. I'm really glad, that I had a chance to listen to this.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Muhammad Diop can ask his question.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for allowing me to participate to that meeting. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Yes, I'm calling from Senegal, West Africa, and I have one question regarding the international cooperation on if there is anything that have been set up during this COVID in order to have like a mutual fund for some country when they start talking how they can cooperate at that international level to get some mutual fund to cover local strategy, because we know that each country has their own local strategy. Microfinance is very weak in our environment, and even the Islamic banking is very weak. But if there is any international cooperation to set up mutual funds or corporate funds that can be set up as World Bank have done and IMF, in order to get weak country like ours and other countries who got interest in Islamic banking to talk to them when it comes to have some funds to deploy when such event happen like the COVID-19. I haven't seen anything at the international cooperation side coming as an answer to that. If there is anything that I'm not aware of, can you just give us some insight? Because it seems like everybody has just a local strategy when it comes to the COVID for the Islamic environment world. Thank you.
Yeah, brother Mohammed, I'm not, expert in mutual funds. So I'm not a good person to answer your question because it's a totally different field. My expertise is about financial inclusion at the bottom of the pyramid through microfinance. So I think Mr. Mughal will arrange some other webinar to discuss these issues, or somebody else from the audience can answer your question well, because I shouldn't go to a field where I'm not expert.
Okay, thank you very much. Definitely, we will refer his question to relevant person, and he will contact with him for the answer related to the mutual fund. Now, I request to Sheikh Abdullah for his question.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. This is Sheikh Abdullah calling from Dubai. I want to ask you this Qarda Hasana in the microfinance. What is the percentage you are keeping it apart from your structuring for either Murabaha or Mudaraba? Are you keeping certain percentage purely as a Qarda Hasana without charging them any additional benefits from the fund you are giving to the vulnerable population? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Abdullah. In fact, around 99% of our portfolio is allocated to Qarda Hasan. We are only have expertise in Qarda Hasan, but we have started, experimenting and developing other products like diminishing musharaka, like musharika and housing products. We have started those, but majority of our services are around Qarda Hasan. Majority, not majority, but overwhelming majority.
Okay, so in that case, you are not going to get any kind of benefits from the loan or the Qarda Hasana which you are extending to the beneficiaries. So how you are sustaining your capital? So is it some kind of corporate fund which you are sustaining as a charity pool, or how you are giving the dividends to the investors or the share capitals?
For that, you will have to refer to our website, or if you send me some details about you, I will be happy to send you our model. We have created a pool of money that is used for giving loans, and this comes as a donation, as a sadqa jariyah from the well-to-do people. And the operational cost is also met through these resources, and whatever is given to the poor people, we are not charging, neither we are charging the cost of funds, nor we are charging the cost of services. So it's a very unique model which depends on philanthropic objectives, which will depend on the desire to support our people, giving and sharing. Ukhuwat means brotherhood. It is an age-old tradition initiated by our Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, when he asked the people of Medina to embrace people of Makkah. So in the same spirit, we want that if 50% people are poor and 50% are not poor, so if they are able to embrace each other or develop a bond of relationship, of love, then we can have this mutual exchange of financial products. So our model is different. Nobody is investing this money for the worldly gains. Of course, this is an investment for pleasing Allah Almighty, but no desire to get money out of it. This is just to help others. Whatever additional resources you have, you don't give to the people as charity, but give them as a Qarda Hasan.
Okay.
So that without compromising their self-respect,
okay,
they continue, they do their businesses. Whenever you give a charity to somebody, no matter how needy he or she is, but at least she feels some dent on his or her, self-respect. So we want to protect people and help them as a dignified human being, and we're offering these services as a brothers. You might have given $100 to your brother, to your friend, to your sister, and you are getting back the same amount. So this individual practice of Qarz Hasan, we have done nothing new. We have just institutionalized this individual practice of Qarz Hasan. We have just experimented that can it be doable on a larger scale? And the result is in front of you. We have served 4 million loans and 3 million families throughout Pakistan. And then the current number is around 1 million active borrowers.
Okay, great. I think this is based on cash work, something like that, on that concept.
Yes, you can call it a cash work. Yes, this cash, this endowment, this revolving fund has been created as a waqf. This will continue to serve the needs of the people as long as it is prudently and efficiently administered.
Okay, Dr. Saab, can you display your contact details in the screen? We can communicate later.
My email is Amjad Saqib, AMJAD SAQIB 1 is in digit at gmail.com. Okay. And I will request Zubair Saab to share my contacts. So Amjad Saqib 1 is digit at gmail.com. You can send me email. Okay. You can see our website, and my email is there. The website is www.akhuwat.org.pk.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. By having the limitation of time, we will take only 2 questions more. We have 1 question at our Facebook because a lot of participants are also watching this webinar through Facebook and YouTube Live. There's 1 question from Uthman Diop, that what plans AlHuda do have to replicate Qarz Hasan model in other part of the world?
Yes, we are very keen to share this model, as we discussed with Mr. Irfan Sheikh from Srinagar. So if they are interested, we will be happy to offer this model, and we don't charge anything. We will be happy to offer these services pro bono. Anybody who would like to experiment with Qarz Hasan, we will be happy to share this. Quite recently, we are discussing this possibility in Nigeria and in Kenya as well, and in some African countries. Many people in India and in Afghanistan have learned this model, and they are doing it independently. Some people also contacted from Bangladesh. So our model is here to learn. Anybody who likes to learn and start and replicate, we will be happy to provide the technical support. They can come to Pakistan. They can, discuss on phone. They can discuss on through Zoom, or they can have through other media. So we will be happy to share this model with whosoever wants to do this. But of course, it's a very unique model. It needs more effort. It needs more commitment. It needs a long-term compassion. So this is something very challenging. But I'm sure there are better people than us, as Brother Sharik Nisar is doing it in Bombay and serving more than 8,000 people with the insurance product. I'm amazed that this is a great effort, because insurance is very difficult. So we will be happy to share with all of you if you like.
Okay, thank you very much. The last question is by Hala Ghazi. So please proceed with your question. Unmute yourself, please.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Thank you for the enlightening session. Yes, I raised hand for a question, but the question is already answered by Dr. Saab. I wanted to ask about the operational cost and expenses of Ukhuwat and how are they met. Being a student of Islamic finance, I'm really interested in reading the model. So most of my questions are already answered. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much.
Which
Okay, thank you
country
very
you are
much.
from? Hala, which country you are from?
Sir, I'm from Pakistan, from Islamabad.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So it means we have chance to take another question because her question already answered. So the last question is with Mr. Dr. Nasir Nabi. Dr. Nasir Nabi.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, with your kind permission, I would first like to respond to my brother Irfan Sheikh. I'm from Kashmir, from Indian side. I teach at University of Kashmir, and I'm very fortunate that I teach Islamic finance and banking. My area of specialization is Islamic economics, particularly Islamic economic theories. Regarding what my brother Irfan Sheikh has said, we already have one model that is actually working. But the issue is that it's not working sophisticatedly due to some political instability in the region. I would request Brother Irfan Sheikh that the model is known as Crescent Cooperative Limited. You can log into www.ccljk.org. It's actually a sort of a very minuscule model of what Ukhuwat is doing, but in a very minuscule type. Number one, it was actually in response. Regarding my question is, sir, theoretically, we have been speaking so much. I mean, I'm trying my level best. We have been, we're organizing mass awareness about these things. But the issue is that it might sound similar to what Brother Irfan has already said regarding the charities. But actually, I'm just trying, which is actually revolving in my mind, that how Baitul Mals particularly, because a good amount of money is being it's pooled in the Baitul Mals. How Baitul Mals can be institutionalized and how they can be made aware of this microfinance. In this fora, most of the people belong to the Islamic finance studies, we know it. But the issue is that creating awareness amongst the Baitul Mal people, those who are actually having the money, not the common peoples or the commoners. They can give money, as your good self has already said, that they do it for the sake of pleasure of Allah. But at the end of the day, it goes to at the bottom of the pyramid towards the Baitul Mal people. So what are your suggestions? How can we motivate them? How can we create awareness amongst them so that they should take initiatives for this sort of microfinancial assistance on the basis of Qarz-e Hasana? And as has been rightly pointed out by Dr. Sharik Nisar Sahab, microfinance has so many other these instruments as well, so which normally we do not know. Thank you, sir.
You know, first of all, let me say that no effort is minuscule. Even if you are helping one person, you are doing something extraordinary. So when we started our program, we had 10 or 20, borrowers and beneficiaries in the beginning. So let me assure you that here number doesn't matter. The purity of intention that is which matters most. So I congratulate you if you have established a system, no matter how small or big it is. You will be rewarded for your good intentions and the purity of thought, number one. Number two, if I correctly understand your question, that you want to utilize the resources of Baitul Mal. So the point is that where do we want to go from this juncture? In fact, we are suggesting of creating a structure like Sadaqat Bank. I'm using the word bank because I don't have an alternate at this point of time. Sadaqat Bank means that all Muslims or even non-Muslims, the Muslims give it for the pleasure of Allah. This is the sadaqah. This is over and above the zakat. And non-Muslims also, give money for whatever reason they have. So this is a bank or a pool of money or a fund which is created through donations. It may be zakat, it may be sadaqah, it may be donation, it may be state support, it may be international support. So for us, the solution is creating of such a big fund and then finding people or institutions who have the expertise of microfinancing and banking. They will utilize that fund as microfinance and give these loans to the poor people for their housing, for their businesses, for their consumptions, for their social needs. So the amount will be given and the beneficiary will not be charged with any amount over and above the original amount, but he will be expected that if he is benefiting out of that fund, so out of his own choice, if he likes to give something more than that, if he likes to donate once he is coming out of poverty. If somebody comes out of poverty because of this loan, then this is his or her responsibility to reciprocate. So this is a way where you will create a sadaqat fund. The whole society will contribute. Even the borrowers will contribute once they come out of poverty or once they satisfy their needs. And this amount can come, the money can come, the resources can come from Baitul Mal as well. Because if Baitul Mal is not used for alleviation of poverty, then what is the purpose of it? So our argument is that instead of giving charity, we must collect this money, share this with the poor people with the hope that they will use it efficiently and they will return it. And not only they will return it, but once they are crossing the threshold of poverty, they will also give more than what is expected. So this we have experienced in Pakistan, that we started this fund with $100 and now the whole disbursement is around $800 million US. And the most important thing, doctor, is that around 60% of our poor people have become our donors as well. They give donations of 1 rupee per day. That comes to 30 rupees a day, a month. So this is not coercion. This is not compulsory. This is optional. And this is their reciprocity, and this is their response to the feelings of brotherhood, that once we engaged with them and told them that we are your brother, we are here to support you. We are not here to make money out of you. So once you get benefit, then you should also think about giving back. So this is how we have created a virtuous model, a virtuous cycle. You have learned about vicious cycle, that you do something bad and it will be repeated. So instead of vicious cycle, we need to create a virtuous cycle. So this Sadaqat Bank would be a virtuous cycle. So this is very briefly my answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Amjad Saqib Saab, for your valuable time, for such a wonderful talk and answering all the questions. We also have some other questions through our other platform. We will write all those questions and email to you for your humble answer. So I'm thankful to all the participants who are with us through Zoom, through Facebook, and through YouTube. And inshallah, we will continue our effort to introduce the concept of Qarzaysan and concept of AlHuda to different part of the world. Thank you very much. And have a very good evening, the people who are watching us from Asia, and very good afternoon who are people who are watching us from Europe and Africa. Thank you very much. Dr. Saab, closing remarks, please. Any
Thank you very
closing
much. I truly
remarks?
appreciate your efforts for promoting Sharia compliant finance and for promoting Qarz Hassan. We truly appreciate you are showing the world a new model, a new effort, and a new system of financial inclusion. And I truly appreciate the wonderful audience, Sharik Saab, Dr. Nasir Nabi, Irfan Sheikh, Sheikh Abdullah, Mohammed Deo, all those friends who asked the questions and who attended and listened so patiently. So no words to thank you. But my last, message would be that please find one poor family in your life and give Qarz Hassan to him. One poor family. Don't give him charity. This time give him loan, interest-free loan, 20,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees, and ask him to do business. This will be, following the footsteps, the glorious tradition of Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. This way you will be creating your own AlHuda. So if 4 billion people in this world embrace 4 billion poor families, the poverty will be gone to the museums. So my message, my request, a humble request would be that please at least find one poor family and give him Qarz Hassan. You will be extremely, extremely amazed to see the results in his life and in your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.